Hi guys, welcome to the first video of Bluezone FX. I hope you really like the series that I'm about to upload. It's my very first time on YouTube. I've finally decided to come here and share my experience as a trader and actually help other traders get funded like I did. Show them my mistakes, how I got funded, how I blew my account, how it took me a week to get funded, and how I actually maintained that. So yeah, stick around and see what happens. But today I won't be doing much. I'll just be doing a DXY weekly market analysis and seeing where price will necessarily be going for this expected week. We will be looking at fundamentals, structure, what to expect and what not to expect from the market. Yeah. But by the way, leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and tell me what type of content you necessarily want me to post, what type of currency pairs you want me to do market analysis on. So yeah, but now let's just get started on the analysis. Welcome back. Right now we'll be necessarily looking at the big view of the market. We can see our external zone from the market is very bullish, but then one thing I can say about weekly market analysis is that we won't be paying too much attention to it as traders, because we'll be intraday traders unless you are a swing trader or someone taking very large positions or holding your trades for over a month or two. You will be worried about structures like this. But if you're not, let's say you're intraday scalper, day trader, you only need to be on the weekly chart once or twice a week. Not even once or twice, let's say once a week, looking at where structure is, looking at your key zones, looking at price. Yeah, so looking at my weekly analysis, we can see that price necessarily has formed a large bullish momentum during the zone. This is where price formed it, a large bullish momentum, indicating that we were in a very large bullish trend until this area. Price necessarily came back down and has been holding until the EQ. The EQ is like a fair value gap. That's where most of the time between the buyers and the sellers, that's the equal of them. That's where price usually likes to hang out. So you can use that point. So price has been stuck in this zone for quite a while until it broke off, as we can see, until it broke off here, broke above, closed from a breakout structure, but then necessarily made a lot of sell limit orders, which brought it back down to this zone, sweeping out this liquidity. And this is where we'll be focusing our analysis on. The external structure is bullish, but our internal structure, looking at this, is bearish. The market has been on a bearish momentum since the beginning of the year, so this is where we'll be paying closer attention on the market rather than focusing on everything else. The market has been having a large consolidation zone since the tariffs were released. The market has been failing to create a significant move, whether it's an uptrend or a downtrend. Price hasn't really known where it wants to be. So internally, we are on a bearish momentum, but structure hasn't really been moving much. Don't be scared when you see this as a trader. Seeing movements like this means that there are less trades, but we're not necessarily worried weekly, because we don't trade weekly. We'll be trading daily and hourly candles. So this one is just an indication of zones we need to be looking for throughout the month or throughout the year. But looking at this zone, this might be a good zone to look out for, as there will be a lot of liquidity above that zone trying to push price back down to form another trend. As you can see, price necessarily does have a breakup structure here, so we've been consolidating in this zone internally, but I won't count that as it's not enough of a trend. I can count this because that's where price made a full break below to indicate that we are indeed on a bearish trend. But internally, price has been struggling to make high highs and high lows and has just been hitting a consolidation area. So looking at this, don't be scared. Just I'd say don't worry about what the weekly shows you. You'd rather be more worried about the daily and the hourly candles. The weekly is just a forecast of the entire week, and this doesn't necessarily show us all. So don't be afraid, meaning that you can't take trades on when you see a market like this. We're still gonna take trades, but just wait, and I'll show you how we actually do this, and I'll show you how we can actually be profitable even if the market is moving like this. So when we look in our daily is a bit more cleaner. We have a bit more price action. This is our external weekly zones, but we won't be necessarily worrying about all of this up here. I mean, this part, we won't be worried about this because this is not where we are right now. We'll be worrying about this consolidation zone all in here because this is where price has been moving since May, and I think it's gonna be moving like this till early next year, maybe the early first quarter. Price is gonna still be stuck there, so don't necessarily be worried about this zone. I'd say every single time we do market analysis, we'll be going deeper into what the chart is showing us and what we have inside the chart. So looking at this, looking inside the zone, price has been struggling to price hasn't really even been struggling. Price has been showing us a constant trend throughout since September. It has been showing us lower lows and lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows and lower highs. No, I mean, sorry, high highs and high lows. Sorry, my mistake. Let's come back. Okay. Liquidity and then continuing back up, forming high highs and high lows. This is where a clear trend has been formed, but then price also failed to break above the significant zone. So be on the watch when price comes back to that zone. It might fail due to the high amount of liquidity still above that zone, which will not want to get sold, such as sell limit orders which are resting above that zone. Those are the ones that necessarily force price to go back down because there are not enough buyers in the market that could necessarily push price above that zone. Necessarily sellers came down and pushed the market back down, what we can say. But taking a look inside the market, we can necessarily see that there were actually some very good days to trade, such as FOMC. If you are a new trader and you don't know how to trade FOMC, I recommend that you do not do so. But FOMC, most of the time we call it buy the rumor, sell the news, because we know exactly what the market is going to be giving us on that particular day. So we knew exactly where price was coming. It was coming to take out this sell side, this not sell side liquidity, this liquidity resting below the zone. Price came in, took it out, got more orders, and then rallied back up to the upside. As we can see, price picking above the zone that it's been struggling to, closing below, resting, coming back to take more orders here, and then continuing back to the uptrend. Price is currently still doing that, so you might expect price to retest off of this zone as it's currently doing to gain more momentum to continue back on the upside. But what we learn from the market is we can never really be sure what the market is going to be doing, but that just gives us a clear understanding of what we might expect from the market. Some things I'd necessarily say we watch out for this week are FOMC meetings and NFP and PMI due to the government closure now being over after 43 days. Market has been not moving that much due to the government not being able to agree upon a legislation, I think. price has been moving like this due to the government's closure 43 days ago, but now it's currently open and NFP hasn't been released, so we can't really tell whether jobs market is doing well or not. But due to it being released this Wednesday, it's gonna give us a clear understanding of where we stand in the DXY, whether we get a push to the downside. I'd say if you are trying to trade the downside momentum, we must watch out for zones below this one, as I've marked out below, what is this, 98.55, and another key zone we necessarily have to worry about is 98.98. These are two zones that are very highly to get retested if price gets bad NFP readings. So those are two areas that you necessarily be worried about. But if price continues to the upside, two areas where I'd like you to be worried about is 99 and 97, which are this zone. Where's 99 and 97? 99, 97 is currently here. Somewhere above here, I'm zoomed out, I can't see. And another one to be worried about is 99.88, somewhere above here. So these are two areas where price is necessarily most likely to be heading, either upside or downside. We're going to cover both because we're never really sure where the market is going to be taking us. But those are two areas where we are most likely to be sure price will be heading. Looking at our hourly, let me get rid of this. Looking at our hourly zones, price has been creating such a nice structure, because when you look internally compared to what we look at on the weekly chart, we can see a better understanding of how the price has been moving since October the 17th. You could go down till the 18th of September. You can see such a clean price action. We've been on a bullish momentum from the DXY, but it's been forming lower highs and high highs, lower highs and high highs, lower highs and high highs. Why I do not count this as a lower high is it necessarily didn't break above this zone, so it was necessarily an internal pullback to fetch more orders to then continue back to the upside, which broke structure above here. So this is our strong low where we necessarily need to be worried about. This is where one of the support zones where I'd say we might be worried about where price might come back to feel more liquidity, or just below this double lows where we recently formed this week on Thursday and on Friday. So expect price to necessarily come below, close, and continue back to the upside, taking out these liquidity zones, as we have two coming into this order block to fill more zones, as I will show you as I'm trading cumulative delta. This helps us understand the market clearer and why I suggest that the market is more likely to come back and fill this zone. So yeah, this is the breakdown of the market. So the market is currently waiting on the news to be released to necessarily see where we're gonna be going for the week. But yeah, always check the DXY if you're gonna be making any moves on the GBP USD, USD JPY, or any major currency pair that is in heavily correlation with the DXY. Yeah, so that's it, guys. Hope you like and subscribe on what type of videos you want me to create in the future. I will be posting more analysis, not just on the DXY, but on the Euro USD, same as on the GBP USD, USD JPY, and on gold as well. So keep on the eye, as you might see them coming anytime. I'm not really sure. I might release them on the same day, but yeah, as it's my first time, I'm still getting used to this. So yeah, I hope we can do this for a very long time. Yeah, see you on the next one.